This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the 2024 Aquarius Full Moon. The full moon takes place on August 19th, 2024 at 11:25 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 2:25 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 6:25 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, at 27 degrees Leo, 15 minutes, 27 Aquarius, 15 minutes. Ever had so much tension build up in you that the slightest opening for release had you burst into hysterics, laughing or otherwise? That's coming for all of us, as a group and as individuals. The complex machinery of this year's Aquarius full moon has something for everyone. It comes with not one, but two T-squares, funneling pressure into two release points. If one of those points doesn't find you, the other likely will, and some of us will experience both going off. Lucky us, right? Actually, yes. After we blow, we'll feel much, much better, more ourselves, possibly, and more stabilized. Think of how much has been thrown at you in the past 3 or 4 months. How many disruptions and switcheroos you have witnessed and experienced. How much the volatility and velocity of life has sped up. The personal and emotional impact is coming out. You may be surprised by your reaction and probably relieved. The baseline of the Aquarius full moon is bringing issues to head involving the dichotomy between group existence and individual expression. Reason and emotion are flipped in this equation, with the Aquarius moon occupying the place of emotion and the Leo sun in the seat of the intellect. It's an uncomfortable dynamic, pitting detachment and intellectual understanding against core needs for attention and validation. The look at me end is getting fueled by memories and misunderstandings, with Mercury retrograde opposite the moon. Situations that you rationalized or slights that you missed are surfacing and challenging that Aquarian detachment. Blowing them up, actually. Reactions are instantaneous and probably surprising. You may not see it coming and then suddenly have the sensation that a switch has flipped with no going back. That's because the tension has Uranus in Taurus as release point. The quick change artist is the focus of a T-square from the moon on one end and the sun conjunct retrograde Mercury on the other. All are in fixed signs. All require drastic action to move, and a T-square delivers just that. If you have the sun, moon, or angles between 25 to 29 degrees of a fixed sign, you will feel this the most. Whether this lineup directly hits your chart or not, you may find yourself processing and venting emotion about developments in recent months, particularly those around April 20th, when Jupiter pumped up Uranus, July 15th, when Mars activated Uranus, coinciding with the assassination attempt and the start of the Republican National Convention, and July 21st, when Mercury first squared Uranus, coinciding with the CrowdStrike computer network outages and President Biden's shutting down his campaign and endorsing Kamala Harris. Another factor in the eruptions, the nagging feeling that you've been duped or fooling yourself. The rumbling is coming off a semi-sextile from the moon to Neptune, which is also playing into the Uranian jolts. The combined effect, awakening as if from a dream. Meanwhile, cosmic machinery is setting off release in a second T-square, this one in mutable signs. The two main players have been slowly moving toward a confrontation. Jupiter in Gemini has been whipping up chatter and options and information since late May. Stodgy Saturn in Pisces has been calling for adulting and order and repercussions since late March 2023. Mars recently teed up the outer planets clash. He met Jupiter August 14th and unleashed a whirlwind, then slammed into constraints when he squared Saturn August 16th. He's still making the same aspects at this full moon and adding loose but insistent oomph as Jupiter and Saturn move into their own exact square, the first of two in Gemini and Pisces. The second comes at Christmas time. Jupiter has more to say, to think, to multi-track, but Saturn is pushing back with a demand for restraint, constraint, and structure. Stop talking so much. Stop thinking so much. Throw out some of the options and streams and settle on one or two or a few and answer for what you've been saying and spreading. Pushback is also coming from Venus in Virgo, exactly opposite Saturn, and joining him in a T-square to Jupiter. Her message underscores Saturn's with an earthy focus. Set boundaries. Be discerning. Watch your words. Clean up your act. If you have the sun, moon, or angles at or within a few degrees of 17 Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces, you will feel this most strongly. The same is true if you were born in the mid-60s, when Uranus and Pluto were conjunct in the middle of Virgo. This T-square is summoning your change agent programming. See where and how you are called upon to step up. One example in the news, Kamala Harris has Venus at 17 Virgo, exactly conjunct transiting Venus, and conjunct the outer planet change agents in her chart. Watch how her messaging changes now. These two T-squares coincide with the Democratic National Convention and again late December when her Uranus-Pluto conjunction joins Saturn in T-squaring, transiting Jupiter. The complexities of this full moon promise drama and reactions to drama, both long overdue, and intertwined with calls for restraint and order and answers. Let the dust settle and enjoy the aftermath. They're not the end of the story by any means. Opportunities will come back for revisiting after Uranus stations retrograde at September's start. I'm Kathy Biehl, a professional astrologer with more than 30 years' experience. Visit my site, empowermentunlimited.net, to sign up for my mailing list and get a Jupiter in Gemini quick reference guide as a download. Thank you for subscribing. Listen to my weekly podcasts and book a session with me. Visit omtimes.com for my guide to handling Mercury retrograde. I have lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, and I'm really grateful to the people who support my work there. I host the show Celestial Compass on Om Times Radio and TV on the first and third Monday of every month at 5 p.m. Eastern. I also host conversation on Facebook on the page Empowerment Unlimited and in the group the Astro-Insight Lounge. I post on Instagram and Threads at @KA Biehl and on YouTube at the Professional Aquarian channel.